dungeon minister!
The whole party moves back to Honeywood. They watch him as he passes, and it swings open. They've decided they need Rupert's help.
Who is that?
So it's business as usual with slightly moldy green biscuits. Casts sleep. Auto kill. There are 2 guards coming.
He's a werewolf.
So they go through farmers' fields. Sir Trevor, I just had it fixed. Thunk! Did any of the werewolves hear that? They heard. They're coming. Sir Trevor leads them through the cellars. Suddenly there's a mighty shove.
The secret door!
They go through the secret door. Boom! He pushes Touchberry and Fleetwood back up the passage. Boom! Up the werewolf goes. Touchberry says, not another house. Another werewolf enters the front passage.
Boss hog, I'm in hot pursuit.
Heading off into a passage and casts web.
Help! Help!
Alienora, we've got to get out of here. Rupert's place. There are more werewolves out there. Our heroes, with Sir Trevor and Molly and Alienora in tow, have left Sir Trevor's house and are making their way again through the back channels, between houses, through fields, to return to Rupert's house. There, they know they have left the mayor, and they're going to reunite Alienora with her father and deposit Sir Trevor and Molly there as well. Then, what are they going to do? They're not entirely sure. They have to make up their mind from there. As they make their way through the dark, they can hear howling all through the village. The werewolves have been alerted, and they're on the prowl. Approaching Rupert's hut, they are very cautious. Have the werewolves tracked us here? Are they watching? Have they been keeping an eye on Rupert? Have they followed us? Can they smell us? Are they like bloodhounds? Do werewolves sniff the ground? Who knows if werewolves sniff the ground? Does anyone know that? If werewolves could, like a dog... I don't either. Anyhow, they approach cautiously. No one seems to be around. They dart through a patch of moonlight and knock lightly on the door.
Who's there?
Shut it!
Oh, sorry.
The door opens a little bit.
Oh, it is you. Ah, you've brought more people. How delightful. Come in.
They all crowd into the small hut. This is not a large home, so it's getting a little cozy in here. Okay, we've got the mayor's daughter. Where's the mayor?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, he went home. He what? He went home. He said that it would look suspicious if he wasn't there, and he didn't want them to know that things were afoot.
Well, they know things are afoot. We've killed like 4 of them. Of course they know things are afoot. He's at his own house?
Yes, he thought it would be best. He also found the table a bit uncomfortable. I told him to move the butter dish. He didn't have to put his head in it. Well, people will do what they will do. I suppose he sleeps on butter at home.
Okay. Look, Alienora is going to stay here with you. Please.
Oh, most irregular.
Molly and Sir Trevor will stay as well.
Oh, will they? Now you're inviting people into my home?
Please, Rupert, please.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll make more tea.
Don't eat the cookies. Leaving Sir Trevor and Molly and Alienora at Rupert's hut, the party makes its way back outside. They hold a swift, whispered conference. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Well, we've got to go to the mayor's house. He's probably walked right into a trap. All right. Let's go. They dart into the shadows underneath the walkway of the wall and make their way north. As they go, they pass the place where they had ambushed the other guards. And there they see the tree in which they had tied up the sleeping guard. I say the tree because the guard, the werewolf, isn't there. There are loose ropes dangling from the tree branch. He had woken up in that situation and finding himself stuck thus, he transformed. And as his body enlarged and his muscles grew, it expanded the ropes enough and he was able to wriggle free. So he is gone, they don't know where. Neither of the werewolves who they killed in Trevor's house, when they transform back into humans, because if you kill them as a werewolf, they transform back into a human, neither of them looked like the man that they had tied up. So where is he? Where is he gone? All right, on to the mayor's house. They reach the garden shed, which you'll remember disguises the sally port on the inside of the wall, and they slip inside. It's very dark in there. The elves, though, have infravision and they can see their way around. Now, where is the entrance to this secret passage? The mayor said it was in the garden shed. Where is it? In the corner, there's a stack of crates, which looks a little suspicious. On the crates is written onion sets and seeds, and it's the middle of winter. You wouldn't be getting those things yet, would you? They walk over and pull on them. They slide over easily to reveal a hole, and in the hole, a ladder. Down they scamper, pulling the crates over the hole behind them. Down they go, about 15 feet. It's not terribly deep, and they find themselves in a rough tunnel. This is not, smooth and pretty like. It's for emergencies. So they find themselves in this rough tunnel, and they follow it along in the direction of the house. They come to the end of the tunnel, and in front of them is a wooden panel. They're clearly behind something. Faux-fire listens for noises. She listens. I'm rolling, and I roll that she does hear, if there's anything to hear. All she hears are extremely muffled voices. I say, the voices that you hear are probably not in the room directly on the other side of this panel. They seem like they're a bit more distant. They're angry voices. There's shouting. Okay, let's try opening it. Push? Does it go when I push? No, it won't move. So Faux-fire says, I'm going to look for the device, the mechanism. And I say, well, that's probably like a check for traps, for, find traps roll. It's not a trap, but it's a hidden mechanism that would be like a trap. So I do a roll for that, and she indeed finds it. I give her a bonus because they're not really trying to hide the mechanism on this side of the door. I mean, it's not obvious. You have to know where it is, but it's not being disguised, right? So she can find it eventually. She finds it, trips it, and it swings open. It turns out it was a shelf up against the cellar wall. And so it swings open, and they step into the mayor's cellar. This room is a mess. There are kegs down here all over the place. When it ran out, of course, the creatures, the werewolves were tipping as much booze out of it as they could, and then they just hurled it to the side. There's bottles all over, smashed empty bottles all over the place, spilled wine, spilled ale. It's a mess. Okay, now where? The voices are coming from above them, and they spot a staircase. Again, Faux-fire's time to shine. She moves silently and succeeds, and I give her a bonus on this one because they're behind a door. There's a door between them and who they're sneaking up on. And hear noise again. Up the stairs she goes to a door, and she waits and she listens. She hears voices. There are two voices, angry, shouting, questioning, and she hears the mayor's voice. The mayor is calm, the mayor is collected, but she can hear there's fear in his voice underneath it. He's controlling himself, but he's afraid, and for good reason. She can see through a crack in the door, she can see the mayor standing there, and vaguely the shape in the background of a large man seated at a table. Now, she recognizes this room. This is the mayor's banquet room, his dining hall. They've been here before when they have come for meetings with the mayor and meals with the mayor. She knows this room. So she has an idea what's on the other side of the door and where in the house she is. They haven't explored the entire house, but she has an idea of where they are. So she heads back down, tells the rest of the party, and they get ready. Back up the stairs they go. This time Bob Johnny in the lead, and he's trying to be quiet, but he's got armor on, so it's making some noise. I do make a roll, but again, the people in the other room are shouting and yelling, and there's a door between them, so he succeeds it. It's a close thing, but he succeeds it. He's making the most noise. The other ones have chainmail and leather armor. They reach the top of the stairs, and they're at the door, and they can hear, and what they hear on the other side is the werewolves, they're in human form, but they're the werewolves, shouting at the mayor, "We know they're here, we know your friends have been snuck in somehow, how did you get them in? Where are they? How many are there?" Okay, they're angry. They know what's going on, they know that the party is back in town. They seem to have an idea even of who they are, because at one point they're shouting about those elves, they talk about a halfling, they know something of the composition of this party. And so they're grilling the mayor, trying to get him to speak before, probably they kill him. That doesn't happen though, because boom, the door bursts open, and in charges Bob Johnny, swinging his axe. He shouts, "Grouchiness!" and the axe head bursts into flames. There's Fleetwood and Touchberry and Faux-Fire right behind him. At the head of the table sits a large man leaning back in the mayor's own chair to add insult to injury. Over his shoulder there's a thin, rangy fellow. Young Cassius has a lean and hungry look. Both of them wide-eyed surprise, which immediately turns to rage. The thin one leaps onto the table as he transforms. The big one stands up, transforming into a werewolf as he does. The mayor hits the floor and scoots underneath the table. Fleetwood and Touchberry charge down the length of the table to take on the big guy. The lean one is running at Bob Johnny and Faux-Fire. Bob Johnny swings a mighty axe and makes contact, and the werewolf spins in pain, and as he does, Faux-Fire lunges forward with a silver dagger and stabs him. He yelps and yowls, rolls off the table on the other side, and begins heading for the door. Meanwhile, Fleetwood and Touchberry are locked in combat with a big guy. Things are not going so well at first. Fleetwood in particular is getting knocked down. He had taken some damage back at Sir Trevor's house already, so he was not in great shape to start with, and is getting dangerously close to the halfway mark in hit points, at which lycanthropy. At any rate, he's starting to get nervous about the hit point situation, but the lean werewolf has run out the door, freeing up Bob Johnny and Faux-Fire. They leap into the combat. Faux-Fire jumps up on the table and runs the length of it herself, and Bob Johnny comes charging with that axe, still on fire. The big guy decides, not for me. He takes a swipe at Faux-Fire on the table and hits, and she goes tumbling off. He leaps onto the table, runs the length of it, and out he goes too. The party does a quick check-in. Everyone okay? Everyone all right? Mr. Mayor, you okay? I'm okay. All right. Fleetwood says, look, I'm getting low in hit points. I'm getting dangerously low here. And Touchberry also. I have been hit. I'm better off than Fleetwood is, but I'm getting down there. I'm getting somewhere in the neighborhood of halfway. So let's be cautious with his next move. All right, what do we need to do now? Well, we've got to go, right? We've got to follow them. We've got to catch them if we can. Out the door they go. As soon as they're outside, they stop. Okay, where did they go? We can't see them. We can't hear them. Oh, we shouldn't have let them get a head start on us. Where would they have gone? The pub. Of course, the mayor told us, Sir Trevor told us, they spend most of their time down drinking at the pub. If they're going to get reinforcements, if they're going to get more werewolves, that's probably where they're at. Let's go. Now they're not trying to sneak. They're not taking the back route or anything. They're not going between yards. They're taking the fastest route down the road, charging on fast as they can. They reach the church and they turn the corner heading for the pub when Fleetwood says, look, I'm no use in combat. I'm too low in hit points. I'm too close to the threshold where I'm going to catch lycanthropy, and then you'll have me to deal with too. And I've used up all my spells. We haven't had time to memorize more spells for the new day, which is going to begin in a couple of hours. But I haven't memorized any spells. I've got almost nothing. I'm going to see if I can go get help. You guys head to the pub. I will be there as soon as I can. I'm going to try to get Sulex. Now, this is probably a good time to talk about how I use NPCs in the game. Yeah, it's kind of a trick to build suspense. You like it? Oh. Anyhow, how I use NPCs in this game. Sir Trevor was a third-level fighter, and for a bunch of first-level characters, that was impressive. He was a somebody. He was more powerful than they were, surely, even though He was older, and he was starting to lose a step or two. Still, he was 3rd level, and that demanded some respect. Now, the players have reached that level. In fact, Touchberry is now 4th level, and Fofire is 5th level. So, Sir Trevor is no longer a figure of awe for them. He does command respect because he's an old veteran, he knows the village very well, he knows his troops very well, he has some respect that way, but he's no longer a figure of awe. In fact, in this adventure, instead of being someone who helps them, he's someone who they help, they rescue, right? Now, Rupert, you see how I use Rupert. He's a quest giver. He gave them information about the barrel white, he sent them to go get the seeds, and he gave them information on their way up to Hrothgar's eyes. So he's a bit of a quest giver. He is also someone more powerful than he lets on, and more powerful than he ever uses. The BECMI rulebook is clear that druids are neutral, and they don't really get involved in the affairs of kingdoms and city-states and whatnot. And Rupert is true to that. He doesn't care who the king is, who the count is, he doesn't really even care who the mayor is, and he's certainly not interested in the wars and the politics and any of that. He does have affection for some of the people in the village, and he lives in the village. Druids would normally live out in the forest somewhere. They wouldn't live among other people. Rupert does. There's a reason for that. The players don't know yet what the full sort of ethos of the druid is, so they don't know that it's strange that he's there. But there's a reason for it, and that will become apparent, well, a long time from now. Parson Supple. Parson Supple's not a really active character. He's a 4th level cleric, but he has retired from adventuring and is now a parish priest. He'll help out here or there with a healing spell and whatnot, but mostly he just wants to live a quiet life. He's also a cautionary tale. He used to be an adventurer, but the party he was adventuring with was attacked by a wraith. He tried to turn the wraith and failed, and the wraith killed one of his friends. That put him off adventuring for good. He feels like a failure, right? So he's a bit of a cautionary tale in the story. The players don't fully know this background yet. The mayor is not an adventurer at all, but he's a very smart man, he's a calm man, and a very clear thinker. He is also a quest giver. He's often the one sending them on things. Then there's Sulex. Sulix is there because the elves need a teacher. They need someone to teach them spells. Now, I sometimes get around that by having them find a scroll, which they can then copy into their books, but I don't want them finding scrolls all the time. I want them to have a teacher, someone that they need to turn to and ask questions of. I also wanted someone in the village considerably more powerful than they are. He's not super powerful, he's 7th level, which is not, godlike powers or anything, but he's powerful enough that he's well above their state at this point. But to avoid him becoming a deus ex machina, he does not like anybody. He only shows up to events when there's food. He is grouchy. He'll voice his opinion, and he'll give his advice if it's asked for, but he doesn't really want to help. He would really just prefer to stay in his tower and work on his research. What he's researching, I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but he's doing something in that tower and does not want to be bothered. Partly, he also questions his own abilities. He never advanced as far as he thought he would. He kind of hit a brick wall. He wasn't getting any better. And so he doesn't quite trust himself. And that makes him very grumpy, very angry, ornery, frustrated. At any rate, I hope that I have frustrated you sufficiently that you now want to get back to the story. Yeah, okay. Fleetwood says, look, I'm going to try to go get Sulex. And he veers off the road, heading behind the winery and through the vineyards and the orchards back there, going up the hill, cutting over to where Sulix's tower is. Meanwhile, Touchberry, Bob Johnny, Fofire continue forward to the pub. There they find a small crowd gathered. Now, some of these people have been drinking for a very long time. It's about 4 a.m. at this point. Some of them have been here for a long time. Others have now gathered. Among them, they see the men they recognize from the mayor's house. They are in human form, but they know they're werewolves. There, too, is the man that they had tied up, who's escaped. Again, in human form, but they know who he is. Several of the people around are with that group, and they're talking with them angrily. Others of the town people are spectators. They're just watching all of this happen. What are they all shouting about? What are they talking about? The mayor's house. What do they mean, Sir Trevor? What happened to Sir Trevor, anyway? Into this come charging our players. The werewolves see them coming, roar, and transform. And so do a couple of the townspeople. People that Touchberry and Faux-Fire and Bob Johnny have known for months now transform. They have been infected as well. Some of the others, townspeople, still in human form, they also turn on the adventurers. Everyone here has seen these werewolves transform, so the players know some of these townspeople were in on it. They knew what was happening. Sticks and rocks, anything that comes to hand as a weapon, they're grabbed, and a mob attacks our party. Some of the townspeople see this happen, and they pitch in against the mob on behalf of the party. They join the other side, and so this riot breaks out in front of the pub. This gets massive. So big, I'm not rolling for everybody, right? I'm rolling only for the combat that the players are involved in, and then I just decide what happens at the other places around the fight. I'm not going to go into all that with every single person here. I don't even know how many there are. I didn't tabulate it. I didn't come up with a number. I just said, yeah, there's a crowd, okay? The fight is fierce, though, back and forth and back. That thin, rangy werewolf that they wounded back at the mayor's house, he falls first. He falls to Touchberry, takes him down, and Faux-Fire is fighting against, I think it's the one they had tied up, and Bob Johnny against the big guy, along with some other people helping him, because this guy, he's massive, all right? So, the fight is fierce, but eventually the tide is turning, and more people are coming out, because of course there's this huge disturbance, and people are hearing it, and they're coming out and joining in the fray, almost all of them joining on the side of the heroes, because frankly, the heroes are fighting werewolves. Like, of course you're going to fight the werewolves, but then they get into the fray, and then they discover that their neighbors are fighting, for the werewolves. And so it becomes this mass confusion. But they're beginning to win out when suddenly more howls. And down the hill from the east come charging 2 more werewolves. They had been at a distance, they heard the commotion, and here they come to join the fray. They're charging down the hill. This is probably going to be it, because Touchberry has been hit a few times, and he's getting low. He'd been low already. Faux-Fire's been hit again now. Bob Johnny, even, despite his armor, he has been hit. And the tide now looks like it's going to turn again. This is going to be the game changer as these two come charging in. Just then, boom! A huge fireball lights up the night. The werewolves were coming charging. They were only 10 meters away. They were almost into the fray when a light burst out behind them and gained on them and swallowed them up and exploded around them. Sulex has arrived. During the battle, Fleetwood had run up to Sulix's tower and was pounding on the door. "Sulex, wake up! Sulex, wake up!" Finally, this old head sticks out of a window above the door.
"What do you want?" "Sulex, you gotta help us!" "Do away!"
No, Sulex, listen, there's a huge fight happening. Everyone's gonna die. You've gotta help."
"I don't care to help."
"Come on, Sulex. Come on, please. You gotta save the day." That does it. Remember I said he doubts his own capability. He thinks of himself as a bit of a failure. Click, the switch goes. Save the day.
"Oh, very well, wait there."
Fleetwood waits there for what feels like eternity, and as he waits, he can hear a howl very close behind him. The werewolves are charging. Just then, the door swings open, and there's Sulix pulling a robe on.
"Very well, let us go."
And he leads Sulix. "Come on, a little faster, Sulix, a little faster, come on."
"I'm coming as fast as I can."
Down the hill they go, and of course, you know the rest. They arrive just in the nick. With the conflagration of the 2 werewolves that had come to join the fray, with their deaths, the big guy decides that's enough. He turns tail and runs. So do 2 werewolves who had been villagers, and a number of villagers who were fighting as humans. They all see him running, and join. He boots it for the west gate. They follow. He reaches it, crashes it open, and out into the night they go. Now, the heroes and some of the townspeople attempt to give chase, but nothing doing. Nothing doing. They can't catch him. They're off into the night. Can you stand guard here? I don't know where the guard who's supposed to be here is, but he's not. Can you be here? I'm a leather worker. Yeah, but you got eyes. Can you stand here and watch and holler if anyone comes? Okay. They head back to the pub, where there's still a group milling around, and they're all slapping Sulix on the back like, way to go! Great job! You saved the day! You know, and the players are like, yeah, what do we, chopped liver? Anyhow, into this group walks the mayor and Sir Trevor. They have left Molly with Eleonora back at Rupert's place, and Rupert is, feeding them moldy biscuits and whatnot. Anyhow, the mayor sees the heroes and gathers them up along with some other members of the town. He needs to hold a quick council. What do we know? How many of our people are injured? How many are dead? What has happened to the invaders? Where are they? Tell me all. They give him a brief rundown of what they know. Some of the people there had befriended these newcomers and were having a jolly time with them, and only vaguely knew that some things were going on, and they're rather shamefaced at this point. Others had been afraid, and still others simply had no idea anything was amiss. They compare notes and quickly discover that, although they don't know now how many, a number of their fellow villagers have gone missing. How many have joined the werewolves? How many were just killed? They don't know. As for the invaders, they're not sure. They tally up those who were confirmed killed. The first one at the wall, the second at the wall, the one they tied up, he was killed later. The two at Sir Trevor and Molly's house. And the two who were at the mayor's house, who came to the battle. One they killed, the other who ran off. That's 7. The mayor had thought there were 5 or 6 originally. But then one of the villagers says, oh no, there were 2 more who showed up a couple weeks later. And someone else says, oh no, I know at least 3 more who showed up just a few days ago. So there may be more. Did they leave as well? Or are they still out there? These strangers somewhere in our village. And are there more villagers? Villagers who had been infected. Some maybe who don't know. Others who do know. And are just waiting for it to take effect. Who is waiting in the dark? Who can we trust? Who is hunting us?